Is this thing working? Are we live? Looks like we're live. What's happening, everybody? Everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you are watching this. Coming in with a little bit of a short show this evening, so I'm leaving it open. Whatever you guys want to chat about. If you got burning questions about your Mopar that you're wanting to get sorted out, you got a combination you want to run past me, lay it on me. You want to talk about some of the issues that some of these vehicles have been having too, we can dive into it. Namely, well, the Demon 170 with all of its foibles, which seem to be catching a lot of folks off guard lately. There's no short list of, well, failures. Take your pick here, whether it's engines or other associated components. It just seems like too many of those vehicles are, well, they're not quite living up to the hype, at least in terms of being able to stay together or to perform at the level that, well, folks would expect them to. But the issue here is that I got news for you. Nobody gives a shit, okay? That's the problem in Demon 170 world. My issue with the Demon 170 is that it never, how do I put this? It's a failure in terms of, not in terms of engineering. Well, it kind of sucks at that too. It's a failure in marketing terms. I want you to think about this. Dodge did, Stellantis did, FCA did an amazing job with marketing, trying to drive the narrative of Hemi, trying to drive the narrative of, well, the old school drag racer, right? Here's the problem. Every single one of the cars that you could mention, the Sport Fury, the Polara, the Coronet, the Belvedere, any of the Roadrunner variants, the Challenger for that matter, the Charger, the Cuda, and the list can keep going on and on and on. The Darts. All of these cars were naturally aspirated V8s, whether they were 413s, 426 max wedge variants, or the Hemi. All of them were naturally aspirated. And where Dodge did a complete disservice was the fact that they made a car that was supercharged, that was supposed to be the end of the conversation when it comes to American muscle. Only to have its handed to it royally by the Tesla, only to have its ass handed to it royally now by the ZR1 Corvette. Do the lists need to keep stacking? What should they have done? Well, what they should have done is release a 426 Gen 3 Hemi. It would not have been that difficult. They say, well, you couldn't get the naturally aspirated to pass emission standards. You're already paying fines, asshole. Pay them for the 426. That's kind of the point. You go out with your swan song. You go out on top. You go out, if you're going to go out, repping the engine that you keep marketing and shoving down our throats constantly. Like, this is why I don't have a Dodge anymore. I mean, Buffy, yeah, but this is why I don't have a Challenger. This is why I don't have a Charger. This is why I don't have a Hellcat Prime here, is because it never was and it never could be everything that a simple 426 with a revised intake manifold and a revised camshaft could have been. That's all you'd have to change. Exhaust manifold the same, catalytic converter the same. Everything about the vehicle could have remained the same. Fold and revise the camshaft, put a slightly longer stroke in the thing, have your 426 have it be your lightweight variant, and I'd have bought one, and I would still own it. But the problem with Dodge is that they kept sticking supercharger after supercharger on these cars, alienating all of the naturally aspirated folks, trying to pander to internet clout or something, a bunch of people that don't have a clue of what they're looking at. And granted, they're fast, yes, but what is cool? You know, you keep talking about what's cool, but supercharged and turbocharged cars, say what you will about outright power, but there's very few actual cool turbocharged cars. There's your standouts, of course, but turbocharging, it's a little bit mundane. See, it used to be, there was a time where turbocharging was kind of like the hippie variant, if you will, of that car, the ultra performance. Now, well, aside from diesels, you see turbos on everything. It's the corporate engine now for Dodge. It's been the corporate philosophy for Ford forever. And now, the NA engine, the thing that actually you would keep referring to when you're talking about Hemi, now that's been pornographied by supercharger after supercharger after supercharger, when in reality, a simple 12-to-1 426 that would make around, well, quite frankly, it'd be about a 580 to 590 horse engine. NA, that'd be cool as hell. And the thing is that outright power and outright performance doesn't make a vehicle cool. It just keeps it from getting beaten by the car that's next to it. The problem is that, well, I made a pretty good living, it seemed like, walking out of the life of Red Eye with a 2015 Hellcat, arguably the worst combination to have. I set national records with that thing, if you want to go off of what little micro records I did own. World record, really, at one point. And that's it. Big deal. I would have had a whole lot more fun seeing how deep into the tens I could get with a naturally aspirated 426. And that begs the question, for the guys that would ask me, well, what's the best way to go about getting power out of my 392? I just say boost it. Don't waste your time throwing a bunch of money at this thing. Throw a low boost supercharger on it and let her eat, because you're not going to want to go through the headaches and the money outspend to put a 426 in the car and to do it right, only to get walked away from by somebody who spent probably less money than you on a supercharger. But it's a 426, and at least it's got some level of panache. And it seems like I'm a little salty on this. I am, in a way, because I keep seeing the Demon 170, which should be getting all kinds of pub. I keep seeing that car not getting any kind of respect. I keep seeing that car basically making an ass out of itself and getting smoked by, well, pretty common garden variety Hellcat combinations. Wow. I mean, when am I supposed to be impressed at this stage of the game? Hey, here's something that's even worse. Get ready, Demon 170 owner, to get your ass handed to you by the high output Hurricane 6 variants of the new Charger. You want to take that to the street? Get ready, because unless you're talking about a roll race, well, that's assuming the thing will actually get to a mile per hour worth bragging about. You're going to get stumped by an all-wheel drive variant of a car that's lighter weight, makes less horsepower, but is all-wheel drive. Yowza. Not a good look. And this is why it really stings me with the 170, because none of that technology is waterfalled through direct connection. Direct connection's yet to offer anything for the naturally aspirated guys. The guys that were flying the flag the highest, it's like if you didn't get a Hellcat, then you're a second tier Mopar owner. And so for me, this whole flex with the Demon 170, I'm kind of in the same boat now as what a lot of folks are, where you're just not impressed. You're not interested anymore. And it doesn't matter how fast the thing is. kind of irrelevant with the stuff that goes on the street. Drag strips are shutting down left and right. What's the point of that? Building a car that's only really going to be worth a darn on a drag strip? Come on now. You got guys putting superchargers in F-150s and turbochargers in LS pickup trucks down here that are mid 9-second vehicles, guys. Mid nines. In a truck you can drive every day. Take the thing to Lowe's. Throw some mulch in the back of the thing. Oh, yeah, and you're into it for what? A third of the cost or a quarter of the cost, depending on how bougie you want to be, Ford versus Chevy. Come on now. It's a little wonder why you never see demons driving around on the road. They've got the biggest target on their back. And by the way, you know who's got the biggest teeth to sharpen on the hide of a Demon 170? Anybody with a Trackhawk. You want to know about trolls, Trackhawk fools, all-wheel drive, the Hellcat Durangos. Those guys with pulleys and converted at corn E85. Bad idea, bro. That's kind of the performance level that you're looking at. Does it run mid nines? Yeah. Will it do it on the street? You're damn right it will. Egad, can you only imagine? But then again, they're both making about 1,000 horsepower at that modification level. So I guess the results should be kind of expected. I don't know. I keep feeling like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I keep feeling a little bit disappointed at this stage, hoping to see something like a 426 by a couple of years ago, only to be now given this thing, this unfortunate looking vehicle that it is going to actually run really good. So if you're big into V8s, they'll just know you got a sweeter soundtrack, I guess. But they're going to be quick. It's the only thing you're going to be able to get from Dodge or Stellantis that's going to put that kind of performance, at least, out there. You can only hope they don't cost $1 Brazilian, though. There's always that. But if it sounds like I'm a little salty, again, it's because I am. The Demon 170 is not getting a whole lot of love whatsoever. And I feel like if it would have just been done a little bit differently, maybe, just maybe, we could have been talking about an outro for that platform, which would have been classy, which would have been cool. Anyway, let me catch up with you guys. See what y'all are up to. I've got a short show tonight, but I want to touch base with you guys. I've been working on motorcycles for the better half of the day. So getting to Hard Rock is in first. What's up, man? Sovereign. Oh, got the ball with the shades and the flex first in. I like it. Got the cadence down. Sam's asking, anybody else have a problem with portable air pumps blowing seals and burning up? No, I have not. Haven't heard of it. DM is in. Skid saying, sup, man? Sam, it's a political game. That's a bummer. Sovereign, boss picked up the 68 Firebird. Nice. Got a buddy of mine that's got a 68 or 69 400 Firebirds. It's really pretty. Really, really pretty. No, it's not a Formula. It's a Firebird with a TA wing on it. Sam, 420. You know what's funny? None of them were passing emissions. That's the problem. But look at it from the motorcycle world. I mean, like you could make it pass emissions, or you could pay the fines, like what you're doing with the rest of the Hemi variants. But it's a joke, really. DM Racer X for his Demon. So Racer, yeah, he was sending me the logs on that right after that, and he also sent me the logs right after he made the passes with that car. If you're asking why or what happened, I went over those logs with a fine-tooth comb. I can tell you that it was losing boost. there was no the PID wasn't selected for the bypass duty cycle, so I don't know if it was the bypass. The way that it was dumping boost also was incredibly inconsistent. It was, in fact, it was dumping boost in weird areas throughout passes that he was making. And then at night, the night that he ran the car, it was fine. I thought it might have been a heat related issue, but there was nothing, unless there's a timer. I'll have a read file on a Demon 170. So unless there's a specific timer, that's somewhere in the body control module or somewhere else. But again, the PIDs weren't logging correctly. So it only was working with a very, very truncated list of parameters, but it was enough to tell me that it's either in the tune and it's dumping because it's a bypass issue, which was an issue with Hellcats at one point. It's a temperature issue. So in other words, it's bypass related. It's a temperature issue and it's cracking the bypass. Although if I showed you the logs, you'd be like, there's no consistency with this. It's not a belt. It's not a tensioner, because I had him go out there and look at him with me on the phone. And the only other thing, and they don't come with a pinned crank, could be a spun balancer. And that will give weird, like inconsistent losses of boost. Anyway, it ain't my car and it's still under warranty. So I'm not going to use the word hopefully, because I ain't going to waste a wish on this. But, it is what it is. And whatever's wrong with it, they'll figure it out. It's like I say. But I went over those. I spent a lot of time went over those. I mean, just literally second by second, looking through temperature, looking at RPM, looking at timestamps, looking at all that shit. And yeah, I came away from the experience. I couldn't tell you what was wrong with it because, the PIDs weren't loaded correctly into the data logger. So it is what it is, man. Sovereign saying I'm over the Demon 170. Yeah, a lot of folks are. Demon saying I prefer the old school Demon. Same. That's the happiest car. Listen, the happiest, friendliest, funnest car I've ever driven are the 309 geared Hellcat variants, which is the Demon variants, which is the Red Eye and the Demon, the old school, the 2.7 liter cars. Happiest car in the world to drive, man. I like those cars a lot. Skids, some good guys today. Saw another one now. I can't stop thinking about 68 olds, 442. Good car, black on black. 402 SBC TKO. Very nice. Oh, Dave Kindig and Kevin. Yeah. Alex tunes for those guys. Someone's in. Brent, took my father-in-law's HO Wagoneer on a small road trip, was not impressed. It was slow to me. Here's the funny thing. So it's weird that you say that. It really is. The HO Wagoneer that I drove was fast, but the truck that I drove with the standard output was a turd. And my buddy Matt over at Moe's is saying that his truck is a screamer, which is a standard output. And the numbers he's putting up, I mean, the truck is a legit quick truck. Every bit as quick as my truck is. So I think, and I don't know if this is true. I don't know what kind of gas was in the Wagoneer when you drove it. I'm telling you guys, those engines are as inconsistent as you can get. And I don't understand why. Everybody that I've talked to, it's very binary. It's either, man, the thing hauls ass, or it was a turd. And I can't get it through my head as to why. It's weird, honestly. I don't understand. I get it, hand to God. I can't. I have no explanation for this, because Sean Hemi Fever, his truck is an HO truck. It's one of the, I don't know, adamantium edition or whatever. Anyway, he's still working on launch technique with it, which does make a difference, like big time. But that thing's a 12-second truck. So I don't get it. I don't know why they're so inconsistent. I don't know what the deal is there. I don't know what nannies are in effect, but I get it. And I'm not doubting anything that you're saying because it kind of actually agrees with some of the stuff that I had heard about how those engines run. I would like to be proven wrong or at least be given an explanation as to the inconsistency of those vehicles. Um, Skids hanging out with Sovereign. Short, since you've been working on the bikes, we'll let it slide. Yeah, I tell you what. So the Triumphs are giving me hell right now. I have figured out. Let me give you guys a heads up on the bikes. The the Katana is doing great. Although the Katana just about got traded in on a new GSXR 1000. The new red one is absolutely gorgeous to death. But I really like the Katana, and I like that it's middleweight, like top of the hill middleweight horsepower with all the leader class torque. It's extremely close to my GSXR 750 in terms of the performance. And so I can't complain about the Katana. Plus, it's the bike that I want. I don't want a GSXR 1000, although they fit like a glove for me. And that's a big deal when it comes to bikes. I had to make the Katana fit. And if there wasn't the Sato handlebar set, that Gixxer would be sitting in my freaking shop right now, half torn apart, waiting on parts to show up. That's how much I like the Gixxer 1000. So don't be surprised if one shows up. The Bonneville is going to get run tomorrow. That bike's always good to ride. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy the Bonneville. In the setup that I have for that bike now, with it being a true early 60s style cafe racer, I can't say good things about that bike. T-Bird, which is the one that I was working on the most. Well, I say that. The one that I started working on, I was able to figure out that whatever fire it has is legit on the right-hand side of the bike. I've got either a map sensor, it's got two plugs per cylinder, and it's either one or both the coil packs on the right cylinder bank, which on that bike is number 1, I believe. Anyway, it's got at one or two of those coil packs are bad. Just remember that for something else we're going to talk about. Could be a map sensor, could be spark plugs, but that's it. Everything else is good. The data logs show good. It has 0 codes, none, zilch, nada codes. Can't get it to show any codes. And I wrote it today. Thing pulls it when it's cool outside and when everything is not getting heat soaked. The bike runs its ass off. It pulls clean to 110 miles an hour. It just hauls ass. It's only when those components get hot that it really gets pissed, and that's when they start to fail. So there's something going on there. So we shall see when it comes to that. But at least I was able to, honest to goodness, figure out that, yes, it is 100% on the right-hand side. But what's happening, I couldn't tell you. Now skip over the Daytona. The Daytona, on the other hand, has thrown every check engine light that I think you can, including fuel pump relay switch, which is working fine. I don't know what the deal is there. And it has 2 codes for the number 1, which is so funny. 2 codes for the number 1 coil. It's also coil unplugged, which is funny because it runs great. I rode that bike for a while, and today it runs beautifully. But it was throwing a check engine light. So why I couldn't tell you. Because absolutely nothing going on there. But, they are 25 years old after all. So they may have to get replaced. I don't know. I know that I don't want to mess with that bike, though. I don't want to start tearing it apart. It runs great. So if it just means that I need to prime the thing for over and over again until it fires up or whatever. The bike does fire up eventually. When it runs amazingly well. So, I can clear the codes if I need to. But it's gonna be throwing random whatevers, and it is what it is. So that's the latest motorcycle stuff going on. Sovereign City loves the 468 especially. Yeah, they're great cars. A lot of fun to drive. I was saying original American muscle cars, automotive works of art. They are still. Prince saying Racer X 70 went into limp mode again. Again, since he took it since he did the second, it's just a third, or I don't know what happened with that one. Sovereign saying the engine has to come out, just get the steering rack out. 2 days total work, $4,500. Wait, what in the hell? Oh, talking about your car. Yeah, no, I get it. Lexus's, yeah. Excuse me. Thank you, Toyota. Yeah, get you an old pickup truck, man. It's all you need. Oh, and Sam, I don't know what Sam's talking about are the government issued diesel trucks. Don't have any EGR or anything like that. Yeah, Sovereign, just get you an old pickup truck. You'll be good. Or a Civic. Yeah, Honda Civic would be really good. The simpler, the better. Skin saying maybe the Hurricane 6 has to have legit 93. Here's the funny thing. So when I was talking to Matt about that, he said that the difference in quarter mile times with his truck was only a 1/10 of a second difference between 87 and 93. He said the thing runs its ass off. And I said, bro, then please help me to understand. Oh, and the truck that he bought was the exact, well, not the exact same truck, but the exact same build out as the truck that I drove. So, man, I don't know. I just, there's a weird, and again, guys, I'm not saying this for effect. I would like to know what is the weird inconsistency with those engines. I just can't figure it out. And you might be right. 93 versus 91. I don't know, man. I don't know, Sovereign, in that car of yours. I couldn't tell you. Oh, Skids is digging the Eco Diesel. Everybody that I know that has ED absolutely loves those things. Sovereign's a 2012. Oof, yeah. Brent saying, I don't know what gas was in it when I picked it up. It was full only for 15 miles per gallon as well. Really? No kidding. $15. That's weird. I don't know. I don't know, brother. I all I can tell you when it comes to these hurricanes is that they're again, I don't nobody is here to defend it or to explain it to me. All I can say is my own personal experience has been very inconsistent with that vehicle, with that power plant. But I do believe the 15 miles per gallon though. I still think some intake are just like flipping the hat on a car. You're exactly right. And yeah, we used to dyno for the import guys, and stock was always better than the aftermarket. Oh, Skids can't beat the Bonnie parallel twins. The 900 Street Twin I had sounded awesome. The Tech 2-in-1 made a nice difference. They are a lot of fun. So here's the funny thing. I did a review. There's only one motor. There's two. There's been more than that. But there's one motorcycle that made me. I almost bought the way that I did the Bonneville, and it was the 900 Scrambler. I flipping Love that. It's a puppy of a bike. It is playful. It's fun. It's just a neat, fun motorcycle that if you needed a punchy runabout bike, I don't know that you can do better than that bike. It'll run on the highway just fine. It looks the part. Just really did enjoy that motorcycle a ton. Big time. Let's see. Stuart's asking, is a custom grind preferable over and off the shelf? Yes, it is. It always is. If you have, it is, but it's not. If you have a strong understanding of camshaft and your own and the combination that you have, then you can pick an off-the-shelf cam that's going to get you pretty close to what you're looking for. But a custom grind, if you get a chance to talk to somebody calls me up and goes, hey, I have this expectation. What can you put together for me? I'll typically have 2 or 3 options, like realistic options. But you've got to set expectations, and that's what I would used to do. And now I just default to like 1 or 2 different grinds, and I'll just look. You're gonna get where you need to be. There's camshafts are all gray. There is no best cam. It doesn't exist. It can't exist. That's one person's acceptance of drivability and power output and what they're looking for. You could say, I want, just an average good camshaft. Okay, one that kind of, it's one of those things where a shirt that fits everybody doesn't fit anybody really well. It's kind of like that. You can buy a shirt off the shelf, but if you have something custom tailored, usually it'll work out better. It's kind of the same thing. But that's, yes, but to an extent, I guess, is to answer your question. Yeah, Sovereign, I'd get a truck, dude. Oh, Brent said he saw his video laid over to around 130. If it is this like the 3rd time or something like that? Because the first time, yeah, I mean, it croaked at 135. It would accelerate, but there was no boost to be found, and it was scary looking too. One of the passes that he made, I was looking at the data log and I was going, that's not a bypass. That's something else. There's something else going on, and I don't know what it is. Oh, Sam, yeah, nor do their gas motors. Yeah, no, a lot of the government stuff doesn't have any of that. Oh, Sovereign just own 4s and 6s. Get you a V8, dude. Yeah, the problem is, dude, vehicles now, it's not about mileage. They age out. That's just how it is. Like Buffy. My Buffy has 210,000, something like that. Anyway, that truck is a brute, man. That truck hauls ass. At 208,000 miles, guys, Buffy runs better than most stock trucks. Newer stock trucks, I should say. I got no beef with that truck at all. The only issues that I've had with that truck have been water pump, wheel hubs, which you would expect, water pump and wheel hubs, and a radiator. That's it. But other components like alternators and everything else, stuff just kind of gets old and ages out. So the good thing is that I don't have any rust issues. So, but again, it's a 2017. You would hope that you wouldn't. That truck's awesome. Freaking luck that truck. Himmy Heads in. What's up? Long time no see, dude. Say, hey, B, I don't catch the live shows, but do listen to the reply. The replay. Still run my 18 scat pack at the local track and having fun. That's awesome. 18 scatty, man. I've been looking more and more at some of just the regular 345 cars. guys, I've seen a couple that look just really good. Oh, Sovereign. Yeah, I mean that thing just needs too much work. It needs to go. It's outlived its useful. Its amortization scale is up, man. Oh, DM, I was looking for a simple and older K5 vehicle, but everything got expensive on bringing trailer. Dude, you ain't lying. There's been some deals, but any of the Chevy boxy stuff, the K5 and the C10s are just, they're still a little bit too expensive. Oh, Skids is out. Good seeing you, buddy. Have a good one. I am not too far behind you, man. I got about another 10 minutes in me, and I got to bounce. Brent's checking out. Oh yeah, Sovereign. That's like I say, that car has outlived its amortization scale. Time to get something new. Hard Rock's checking out with Skids. Arthur is in. Good to see you, buddy. Oh yeah, the newer stuff, man. A lot of newer stuff. It's really good while it lasts. But okay, so electrical issues. My Hellcat was nothing but electrical problems. And the running joke between Smoke and Hot and me is that the Corvettes were like, we just call them electrical problems. Hey, that's a good looking electrical problem right there. The Hellcat was actually worse. I hate to tell you this, but it was significantly worse. And it was worse to the point where I did not, little things on that car kept like little ant bites. And it got to a point, guys, I'm sorry to say this. I don't want to say it too loud because I do really, really like that car. But damn it, I'm telling you, it was one electrical issue, one failed fuel pump, one glitch away from getting gotten rid of anyway. I wanted to let it go, not get rid of it, if you know what I mean. Stuart, thank you very much with the 392. Is tight LSA increased overlap best for quarter? So the short answer is yes, but it depends. And okay, so the question, guys, that Stuart's asking is a tight overlap best for the quarter mile, but it depends on, is it the same intake center line as the wider cam? In that case, yes, it's going to be better for quarter mile. You're going to have better mid-range, full stop. Okay. But it also depends on the intake manifold. Is the intake manifold able to flow extremely well? And if it is, a wider LSA might be more desirable so you can get better power on the big end of the track. So typically, duration for duration, tight LSA is going to make better. It's going to be choppier, but it's going to make better bottom end and mid-range power, but it's going to lose because of pumping losses on the big end. Wider lobe separation angles, and I'm not with the same intake center line, will make better power on the back half of the track with a loss in mid-range. That being said, a tight LSA with a retarded lobe intake center line, say 112 degrees, will make better top end power. It'll shift the power out to the right on the chart. You can't really do that with, well, but you may run into issues with piston to valve clearance on the exhaust side because you're cracking the exhaust later with a tight LSA. So when you crack the exhaust early, this is why, okay, I don't want to get into, I literally have walked and almost put together like syllabuses for camshaft theory, but a tight LSA cam with less duration that has like 110-degree intake center line is going to do extremely well with a set of cylinder heads that flow as well as a set of cylinder heads flow. A wide LSA is awful on a set of heads that don't flow well. A wide LSA really only works properly with a good set of cylinder heads and an intake manifold that'll flow it. That's your Hemi. But you would not want a wide LSA on an old school like Target Master 350 that may only rev to 4,200 RPM. The last thing you want is a wide LSA. You want as tight of an LSA as you can get with that type of architecture, because the heads don't flow anything. It's nothing but basically at that point, it's nothing but velocity, intake charge velocity. And you want to make the intake runner, if you have great flow, as active as you can. If you have shit flow, what you want to do is you want as much scavenging as you possibly get. And that's what the tight LSA does. I hope I didn't totally confuse you with that. So much to camshaft stuff that I could start a live show and just like Jerry Lewis telethon my way through it. And for every point, there is a counterpoint. With camshafts, like anything in life, you can't talk about the front unless you talk about the back. Every front has a back, every back has a front. And you can't talk about what one part of camshaft theory does without talking about the other half. So that's why, like, if you look at a set of like a Pro Stock, which is a naturally aspirated maximum of 500 cubic inch engine, if you look at a Pro Stock camshaft profile, they try to spread that cam as far out as they can possibly get it for their lobe separation. And you'll see them with like 113, 114 degree intake center lines and like 128, 132 degree lobe separation angle. They are cracking the exhaust valve so early to try to evacuate the cylinder. They've got ports on it like you can stick your arm into these things. That's how active the intake side is. So scavenging, great, but their whole plan of attack is to try to run with as little time under peak pressure and then to scavenge everything out of that cylinder as fast as possible so that they can drag that on the back half of the track, so that they can drag the intake charge in at a much later RPM. It's pretty trick stuff. But thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. And again, hopefully I answered something for you. Some say soon cars will just be thrown away. They kind of already are. Just a transportation appliance. Straight to the crusher. Sorry, good luck finding electronic parts a decade from now. That's kind of the problem that I'm running into. DM, bro, dude, seriously, right? I can't afford nostalgia anymore. Like, so I know that I've been like, oh, it'd be great if I built like a, an old school insert, whatever. It doesn't matter. Guys, unless it's a Chevy, maybe a Ford. Chevy is so well supported by the aftermarket. You can get parts for those things. But any of the Mopars are getting so hard to get parts for. They're a nightmare. Anything from the 50s, forget about it. It's not, guys, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, man. Look, and here's the thing. The way that I look at a lot of those older cars, it's like a very good looking suit, right? But at some point you can only wear the suit so many times before you literally wear the thing out. And that's how those cars are. And believe it or not, guys, you have to remember back in the day, muscle cars, defined by however you want to define it, they were throwaway cars. Again, I cannot, okay, my grandfather, part of his circle of friends had a pretty Interesting circle of friends. The only vacuum cleaner salesman that I knew that had a new Cadillac every year. But anyway, how do I put this? They were in the automotive industry. Okay. They had at their car lots, they had back of the lot cars. One of my uncles worked for one of these guys. And in fact, owned the service station that did all the refreshes and everything else on these used cars. And even he would say, you know, the muscle cars, yeah, he's like, they were just ragged out. Like all of them needed new engines. All of them needed new everythings, really. And most of them had been wrecked. That's the other thing. They've been wrecked, curb checked, all kinds of stuff. So I grew up, you have to remember, I grew up in a racing family. I grew up with a grandfather that raced stock cars before there was a NASCAR. I had a family that was in the car business. I had, you know, like I said, my uncle owned a service station. There were connections to that side of the world when it comes to that industry. And so it's just kind of weird. You would see these things and they literally were disposable at that point. And people, to be honest, got kind of tired of it. They got tired of the loud. They got tired of the unreliability. They got tired of the things loading up at stoplights. And, you know, there's a lot that comes. And by the way, here's the thing. Here's something else you've got to remember. You are currently living through a first right now with EVs coming online the way they are, with the battery technology that they have and fuel injection and turbocharged everything. That's all. It's old news, but it's all kind of a first in a way. If you think about it, there weren't muscle cars before there were muscle cars. You had some hot rods in the 50s, but you get the idea. There's no precedent to this stuff. And people tried it out. They thought it was cool. It's neat. They had fun with it, but they started braking. People didn't like the gas mileage. You know, you get into racing, you get a car that you can't even drive on the highway at more than 60 miles an hour without the engine buzzing itself completely to bits. So I guess that's what you have to remember when it comes to those older cars. They're freaking works of art to look at, but I hate like hell when people start to look at the quarter mile times. Like that's something that matters. You have FAS class and factory stock class racing that's out there that'll have you think that these were all, you could just, you know, sprinkle a little, you know, hot rod dust on these things and they were going to be, you know, 10-second or 9-second cars. God, those cars are freaking race cars. They only look like a stock car. If you only knew what goes into those cars to get them to run as fast as they do, you would never believe. And I think that, and I feel like that is it's just a waste of a car at that point. I mean, it's how you wish they would have run, right? But let me tell you something. The first time you ride in a 15-second car with a big V8, it's a monster. It's a race car, right? So anyway, I don't know how I got on that. But yeah. Oh yeah. Just building an older car now is just, it's going to cost you half again more than buying a new car these days. Let's see. Oh, Hemi, yeah. 5.7 Chally with an E-Force track pack car. Oh, yeah. That'd be a fun car. I don't know, man. I'm just like, ugh. Oh, sorry. Yeah. But no, you're exactly right. One of my favorite cars to drive is an E-Force 5.7 car. They're just a fun car. Like Take said, another stream. We can't have simple, basic cars with no fancy electronic BS. That's the thing. Why can't we have that? I don't understand. In fact, I'll even go so far as to say this. If I do another build, it'll probably be an F-150, regular short bed 4x4, vinyl seats with roll-up windows. That's it. Put a blower on it, drop it, throw some welds on it, tint the windows. That's it. Peace out. build a cute little 10-second truck and call it good. That's it. And it would do it on the street. But yeah, I don't understand. It's easy to make these things. Like, where is our, I don't know, start rattling them off. Like, where's our 2003 Civic? You know, where is the small, gets good gas mileage, V6 or 4-cylinder powered thing? I don't know. It's just, I don't get it. Leo, I have no idea now, Sovereign. Sir Dad had a Chevy Chevette. That was a throwaway car. Yeah. Yeah, but I promise you, if you saw like a mint condition Chevette at a Cars and Coffee, you'd stop and look at it. You're saying, how about a 70s Roadrunner? I'd love a 70s Roadrunner. It's one of my favorite body styles. Oh, the old Explorer. I tell you what, you know what would be sick to death is get a 5.0 Explorer. That'd be a lot of fun. That would be a whole lot of fun. Yeah, at one point, I knew some guys that were hot on one of those. I don't know what ever happened to that thing. Kind of lost track. The dude that worked at Pro-M. You know, 5.0. Yeah, I like the, man, any of the 5.0 stuff I like. Love it. But with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going actually a little bit over what I thought I was going to go this evening. But Stuart, thank you very much, man. I appreciate the contribution. I truly do appreciate it. But yeah, I got to get back to work. I finish up what I'm working on, and I got like work to do tomorrow. So I got to get that early on type stuff, waking up with the Amish and all. But guys, with that, appreciate each and every one of y'all. Would not do this without you. Get out there and do something cool for somebody, because chances are they get way more than you know. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it. Just make sure I don't have any other questions popping up. Looks like we are good to go. And that's a wrap, guys. Y'all have a great one. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.